Righto, Money Minds. I'm looking forward to the weekend, Ali, aren't you?
Sure am. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday. And I think with Johnny Forward's excellent interview going live yesterday, I actually reckon that the late quarterly reporters out there thought they would get away without a name and shame segment.
No, absolutely not.
Never fear, Ali. We're rolling it out today. We never forget. We never forget. And I'm going to try my luck with a new segment myself. I've been thinking about some of the deals I've seen in the last week. There's 5 of them, and I just keep thinking about them so much that I thought I'd rapid fire and just tell you why they're still interesting to me. The top 5 deals of the week. And spoiler, I actually think I got a bit too interested in one of them, namely the one in a trading hop today. But first, Ali, I want you to picture something.
Okay.
Imagine you're the kind of miner that truly cares about your workers. You picturing it?
I'm picturing it.
Yeah, you're not the kind that's all talk, but the kind that really gives a crap. You're growing production, you're bringing new mines online. It's time to show your workers that you care with the quality of facilities they get while working away. Don't install boring dongers or a boring camp or some dry, boring place for people to just sleep and exist. Doesn't sound very fun. Make the accommodation as comfortable as possible for the time your workers are away from their families. This is where Grounded comes in. The legends at Grounded don't just install, they design these things,
They do. No, they're full service from concept to completion. And the design side is super impressive. They handle conceptual design, feasibility studies, detailed renders, DA preparation and submission, and building permit application as well, just to name a few.
Your life is easy when your workers are living in a 5-star resort in the bush, Ali. This is a 5-star for FIFO camp. That's what this is. You need a review on these things, like a Google reviews. If you Google reviewed the Grounded camps, that'd all be 5 stars. These are 5 stars.
You can even check out a few. I mean, you've got the Rockley Palms one they did for Rio Tinto, 262 new double-story accommodation. The one it's a particular favourite of mine is the Christmas Creep at Fortescue. They put in an additional 200 rooms, but my favourite bit, they added a brand new wellness centre with a massage studio, a hair salon, and yoga. That is so cool. I love that.
If you're ever going to go FIFO, Ali, I think I know which company.
Just got to check that there's a
Grounded
Grounded
camp. You'll be joining Fortescue and
first.
requesting Christmas Creek.
Yeah, I need somewhere to do my reformer Pilates. Love it.
Care about your workers, prove it, get Grounded to make their life better.
Go Grounded.
All right, Ali. So I've got some deals that have piqued my interest over the last few days. I thought I'd just wrap it into a bit of a segment. And normally when there's a deal, we do a relatively thorough breakdown. But today I just wanted to rip through, a few of the ones that over the last few days I've just found pretty damn interesting.
What's top of your list, Trav? What's number 1?
So the Alkane Mandalay merger. I know JD talked about this already the day it came out, but I just keep thinking about it. It's actually a really interesting deal to me. Both Alkane and Mandalay, they're in that subscale kind of producer cohort,
Yep.
so it's easy to overlook them. This is a nil premium merger. The pro forma is $1 billion company, and they're guiding to produce 160,000 ounces of gold in 2025. The tie-up kind of catapults them just from a production perspective into a completely different peer set that warrants kind of new eyeballs. They kind of move out of the category of peers that are all in that kind of subscale production when you're doing your gold producer peer comps. So there's a smaller scale production cohort with Black Cat, Mika, Beacon, Kingsgate, those guys that don't get as much attention, and they move into that peer group that's like Bellevue, Bentoro, Catalyst, or Abanda. It's honestly what the pro forma production is. It's going to be more than Capricorn and Emerald, but obviously different unit costs and growth outlook.
Sure.
So not vis-a-vis, but I've just found it interesting. These are a bunch of small mines that are in the portfolio. Small mines are typically high cost. High cost equals leverage. So it's not like it's not a simple story. It's definitely there's a lot of stuff going around. But I still find it interesting that production profile is it's now more than respectable. And to get a nil premium deal over the line, I think it works for all shareholders of both companies. That's why I'm a fan of it. I'm kind of curious if someone tries to interlope in some way. Now that Mandalay is effectively in play, without a nil, with a nil premium in this merger, someone could come in if they wanted to pay a premium.
Yeah, okay.
Lots of goldies want growth, right? And here's some, and you don't need to pay too much of a premium to get it. The other side of that argument of it being a target for an interloper, this is a merger of equals with minimal premium cross border with a bit of legging and currency risk. So there's a fair bit higher up the execution difficulty curve for someone to really try to get in the way here.
Warrant to interlope. Fascinating.
Yeah.
And Number 2, you've got Resolute buying Cote d'Ivoire growth projects from AngloGold Ashanti. So a bit of a move away from Mali.
Mali's been tricky for Resolute, but this one really caught my attention yesterday. It looks a really interesting deal. So Resolute, they've purchased AngloGold's development projects in Cote d'Ivoire, namely Doropo and ABC project. They're only paying US $150 million in staged payments. There's a royalty on the earlier stage one and a small contingent in addition. But Doropo is the more advanced project of the two, and this came into AngloGold's portfolio via the acquisition of Centamin last year. Centamin's got that giant mine in Egypt, and this was the development project that was less interesting, clearly, to AngloGold. But the DFS was done on Doropo just last year in 2024, which showed 167,000 ounce production profile for 10 years, and the capex it's decent capex, right? US $400 million, but there's quite an interesting project here to my eyes, and it doesn't scream out of this world an expensive price to be paying for a pretty respectable production profile.
Yeah, fascinating.
Don't know what you thought of it, Al.
I just caught up on it now, so I'm learning about it just as we speak.
Yeah.
So no,
I think it's in a part of Cote d'Ivoire that Cote d'Ivoire is one of the more attractive countries to operate, but there's variation in different parts of the region. I'm not quite sure if this is the simplest part of Cote d'Ivoire to operate in. However, on paper, I'm pretty interested in this deal, and I think it's a really interesting move by Resolute. You'd have imagined that AngloGold would have run a process to sell this.
I think so.
But the way that this came out, there was like a swap of Resolute's tenements in Guinea that was kind of part of it all. It screamed a bit bilateral, which if it was bilateral, that's a pretty cool outcome for Resolute, but you would have imagined there was a process. But anyway, I just find it interesting. Takes me to my third deal, Ali. This is a very funny one, I think.
Yeah, so we're pivoting now to tin.
Tin and Morocco. So Atlantic Tin is getting acquired by Xingyi in Mongolia, they're called. It's hilarious for a couple of reasons. Atlantic Tin is what became of the old ASX-listed Casbah Resources for the people that are old enough to remember Casbah. That was working on developing a tin project in Morocco. And when that stopped being listed on the ASX, and I'd have to do my research to understand all the history there, it effectively became majority controlled by Parla. And now that there's a deal in place for the project to be sold to Xingyi in Mongolia for what is a total equity value of $98 million cash, the fascinating thing about the announcement that's popped up, it reveals the premium to last traded price is
last traded price was about 5 years ago, though.
1,500%. Those lucky Casbah shareholders, maybe I know some of them are a bit grumpy, but some of them probably thought there's no light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, love it.
I think some of them are still pretty frustrated, but regardless, that's an astounding premium to ever see, even though that was 5 years ago.
Don't see that every day.
You don't.
Oh, love it.
Number 4, Ali.
Who have we got?
This was Tabani. The African gold developer. They announced this financing from Eagle Eye Asset Management. They basically merged with a strategic equity investment from Eagle Eye of around $15 million, plus a non-binding intention for US $160 million debt facility. Non-binding, so you can't take it with a grain of salt. But regardless, it is interesting because this family office, Eagle Eye Asset Management, they keep popping up everywhere on African development projects.
What other projects are companies are getting involved with?
Massive shareholder of Canyon, massive shareholder of Prospect Resources, and now Tabani. But I talked about it on the pod the other day. It's this family office based in Singapore, and while not explicitly stating it's the family office of Gaurav Gupta, it appears to be Gaurav Gupta's family office.
Yeah.
But those three companies, that's the spread of bauxite, copper, and gold in 3 different African countries as well. So there's a lot of diversity to what they're doing. But I'm kind of interested in their strategy and what they're doing and why and the decisions they're making. So one I'm keeping an eye on. And Tabani, they've had a nice recovery after wearing a lot of the collateral damage from the drama that unfolded, especially in relation to Resolute in Mali. The share price is ticking back towards kind of levels where it saw in November last year.
Yeah, it's pretty much almost back there now. So, that'll be an exciting one to watch.
And the 5th one, Ali, Gold Road Goldfields. I oops on this front. I don't know if I caused this. Don't know if it was me, but Friday morning our daily email. So this morning the director special goes out 8:28 a.m. Perth time. 9 minutes later, 8:37 a.m. Perth time, Gold Road pauses trading. How are those things related? I included a rumour in our daily email, the Director Special, that Gold Road may have received a best and final offer from Goldfields a few days ago. And in Gold Road's trading halt, they reference trading halt is requested following media speculation regarding a potential change of control transaction. And the second point is that they'll come out of trading halt on or before market open on Tuesday next week by provision of an announcement to ASX regarding the corporate transaction. I don't think there was any other reporting on this rumour. I'm not sure how to feel about this one, but it looks like, just the way that they word it, it looks like there was certainly some degree of truth to that rumour, because you would not your strategy would be different if there wasn't truth to this. You would just rebut the market rumours. If it was just something in our newsletter that was wrong, you probably wouldn't even feel the need to make an ASX announcement, to be honest. So I feel like if it was the newsletter, my rumour, don't know how I feel about that one, but regardless, it appears there's actually a deal in motion, and my base case is I expect to see revelation of what that deal is whenever they come out of trade, be it Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah, and if there is something sort of seems to be coming along the way, hopefully it's a great outcome for both sets of shareholders, so we'll have to wait and see.
Indeed, Ali, indeed. Speaking of great outcomes for shareholders, how about the companies that reported at like 7 p.m. on the 30th of April, their quarterly report?
The old quarterly name and shame segment. So you're right, Trav, it is that time of year again. So for those who aren't super familiar, mining companies like non-producers have to put out their Appendix 5B, which is basically their quarterly report, by no later than the last day of the month following the completion of a reporting quarter. So in this quarter's case, no later than the 30th of April for the quarter ending 31st March. And naturally, there is a bunch of companies that leave this quarterly report, to be released on ASX to the last day possible. But then there's also a cohort that leave it to the absolute latest on the last day possible, after market. The thing that baffles me is it is not a surprise or some sort of new revelation that mining companies have to report by a certain time each quarter. So I don't understand why some companies leave it so late. Perhaps that's just life.
Do you know what, Ali?
I don't
the
know.
repeat offenders that pop up time and time again, I actually think they're doing it for the marketing now.
Maybe. Who knows? Who knows? But let's get into it. Let's do. I'm going to do a rapid fire on the top 5, and the next 5 after that we'll get a special mention.
All right, I'll kick it off, Ali. 7:16 p.m. Vertex. This was the latest of all of them. $40 million market cap gold co. They look like they've been keeping busy at their Reward Gold project in New South Wales. Refurb their 110,000 tonne per annum Gecko gravity gold plant commissioning commenced, and they've started producing from their stockpiles. Why did they report at the last minute if they've got something to update? I'm confused. They've actually commenced underground mining development at Reward. Interesting.
Yeah, so I would hope that they are using some Sandvik Ground Support when they're doing the underground development there at Reward. It's the only name you need to know. You can get a whole ground support kit and caboodle sorted for you by Derek Hurd and the legendary team at Sandvik Ground Support.
That is the absolute bare minimum you need to be doing, Ali, if you're underground mining, and if you bare minimum you need to be doing is reporting on time. Bare minimum you need to be doing is using DSI or Sandvik Ground Support and getting in touch with Derek Hurd, the legendary team that is there, because they have split sets, mesh, polybolts, MDX bolts, dynamic support, static support, and heaps more.
Trav's even got the T-shirt on today. Have a flick around, Trav, so show the money miners what's on the back of your shirt. It says on there for the audio viewers, we keep people safe. What more could you want?
I feel safe wearing it, Ali.
Keeping your ground and people safe.
Go Sandvik.
Go Sandvik. Ground
actually,
Support.
I just figured out why they probably reported at the very last minute, Ali. They're going mining with only $1.4 million cash left at the bank. So
yeah, so hopefully some of the proceeds from processing the stockpiles can keep them going. But yeah, it sounds like they've been quite busy. Second one, this is a previous offender last quarter, Anika Tambang. I hadn't really heard of this company before. They look like a big Indonesian miner, sort of producing and processing a range of different commodities It sort of appears like their main listing is on the Indonesian Stock Exchange, and they've got like some sort of a smaller listing on ASX. Looks like around like a 4 billion market cap Aussie dollar equivalent. So not the usual sort of, company we see in this segment.
707, Alvo Minerals, precious base metals minnow, $5 million market cap, some Brazilian exploration assets, only had 400K in the bank at the 31st of March. From the 31st of March onwards, they've done a letter of intent with Pan American Silver Corp. They're doing some DD on that asset. They did a bit of an entitlement offer and top up. But yeah, just another junior keeping busy, updating shareholders, raising a bit of money to keep the lights on, and reporting late.
706 Horseshoe Metals. So another exploration minnow, about 11 million market cap.
This is like the fourth time they've been on this list.
Yeah, I think they've come up a few times. So they're focused on recommencing development activities at their Horseshoe Lights copper gold project in WA. They signed a deal with Melody Gold for the right to process certain sort of gold surface materials at Horseshoe. They're continuing to pursue early cash flow opportunities from DSO sales of existing copper stockpiles and discussions with copper con offtake partners. I sort of looked through the last few quarterlies that's sort of been mentioned in all last. It seems to be going on for a while, basically.
What hasn't been going on for a while is that $4 million con note. I think that was announced like aftermarket on a Friday 1 week during the quarter, and it's a bit gnarly in my opinion.
Yeah, and then they are also doing a strategic review of their Glenloth gold project in South Australia, which is next to Barton Gold's Tunkilia.
7:02 p.m. Patterson Resources, gold explorer out in the Patterson province of WA. Name suggests it's all very light on the news front. Only one project related announcement in the 6 months, which was a geochem test work result last week. Quarterly report's pretty light on too. What really matters here? $2 million in the bank. Probably why you uploaded late. Special mentions, Ali. Who have you got?
All right, we've got 657 Helix Resources, 656 Rarex, 653 M3 Mining, 650 Ascari Metals, and 647 Macro Metals.
All right, get your reports in earlier next time, please, companies.
I think I did suggest last time a carrier pigeon, or I think I provided a YouTube guide link on how to set Outlook reminders. So I'm sure there's a whole range of other tools and that. So try and improve a bit better next quarter, guys.
Oh, I reckon the call to action is very valid, and I'll be looking into that carrier pigeon process in time for the next reporting period. But I want to thank our partners much more promptly than a carrier pigeon would. Who have we got, Ali? Our wonderful partners, Mineral Mining Services. Well, we've got a conference, GRX conference, by the way, too. If you want to head to that, we've got a discount code in the show notes for you to use to get like nearly $200 off your tickets. You may as well do it. It's in Brisbane on the 20th to the 22nd of May. Mining tech, get around it. Grounded, wonderful partner. Sandvik Ground Support, the only support you will ever need. CRE Insurance, K-Drill, KCI Site Services, Black Diamond Drilling Services, the best consumables across Boundary Energy, WA Water Borders, the premier water well drilling company, and Quattro Project Engineering. Get around all of our partners, Ali. Hoodaroo.
Hoodaroo.
The information contained in this episode of Money of Mine is of general nature only and does not take into account the objectives, financial situation or needs of any particular person. Before making any investment decision, you should consult with your financial advisor and consider how appropriate the advice is to your objectives, financial situation and needs.